I'm an 18-year-old female, turned 18 in early August. For my 18th birthday, I wanted to go out and celebrate with my family by going to my favorite Chinese restaurant. I'm quite a picky eater. I'm autistic and have issues with textures. But any type of Asian food is safe food for me. When it comes to more Western cuisine, I don't have a lot of options unless I make it at home. Everything was organized and ready to go. But a week prior to my birthday, my brother's fiancée Vicky, female 27, said that she can't go. She says she has a seafood allergy, and after contacting the restaurant, they said they can't realistically cater to her and politely said that it would be better for her not to eat there. Vicky and my brother suggested that we go to this Italian restaurant instead. Everyone was on board, but I hate Italian food. The textures of cheese, pasta, and just all of it is just gross to me. I got upset because it was supposed to be a dinner for my birthday. It was like they had forgotten about it. I talked to my parents and they told me to stop complaining. Vicky cannot help having an allergy. I sucked it up and went. I spent my birthday miserable and ended up just sneaking in my own snacks into the restaurant. Well, last weekend I spontaneously went over to my brother's house with no warning because I have forgotten my hoodie there from a few days prior. My brother let me inside and I saw Vicky sat on the couch, scoffing tuna like it's nobody's business. I tell her, I thought you were allergic to seafood. What are you talking about? My 18th birthday last month. You said we couldn't go to that Chinese restaurant because you were allergic to seafood. Well, I'm not medically allergic. I just can't stand the smell of all those shrimps and prawns. It makes me feel nauseous. So you ruined my 18th birthday because you don't like how seafood smells? Wow. I stormed out and plugged Vicky and my brother on everything. I couldn't believe this. I talked to my parents, and they think I'm being dramatic, and that it's just a restaurant, and told me to apologize to Vicky for speaking to her like that in her own home. I was so angry. I went to stay with my boyfriend's family for a few days who very kindly let me stay. My family thinks I went super overboard and are calling me a brat and entitled. I don't know how to feel though. Was I the jerk? You're not in the wrong. I would usually agree with your parents and say that we should do what we can to make people with food allergies feel welcome. That means switching restaurants if someone can't eat at a particular one. But this situation is different. First of all, as you said, it was your birthday. The right thing to do was for Vicky not to attend or to arrange with the restaurant to be allowed to bring her own food. She is not your blood relative, so she didn't have to be there. It is not okay that your parents let your brother and his girlfriend pick a restaurant you didn't like. You should ask him to take you out again to a restaurant of your choosing. Yes, you are angry about this and I don't blame you. No one listened to you. Your parents let Vicky ruin your birthday. Now people are still dismissing and minimizing what you're saying. That would definitely annoy anyone. No, you are not in the wrong. Your sister-in-law is. I'm so sorry your birthday was ruined. You're not a brat nor entitled. You have an actual issue, but Vicky doesn't. She lied. You didn't. And as a mom and grandmother, I don't think what you said to Vicky requires an apology. Of course, you most likely will get no peace until you do what they want, and as a parent, I think that sucks. You're not in the wrong one bit. Vicky acted entitled, and it said your family is prioritizing her lies over your happiness. Sounds like your brother is a golden child. My family is visiting and staying at my house. I keep a box with a few $100s in it in my room. Just in case I need cash. My niece did a chore for me, so I went to my box so I could give her a small reward. However, when I went to get it, my box was empty. I panicked because I knew I hadn't taken anything out, let alone all $300. I asked my brother about it, and he got offended that I would even imply that his family would steal from me. I told him to at least ask his kids about it, but he refused. I ended up asking them myself, and my 14-year-old nephew told me he had taken it. I asked for it back, but he said that he had taken it 2 days before and had already spent it. I told him to give me what he bought then, but he refused. His dad blew up at me and told me I have no right to talk like that to his child, and I told him to tell his kid to give me the thing he bought or to pay me back, but he refused as well. I told him that I would bring this to the police, and he just laughed and said it was only $300 and it wasn't worth the trouble. I told him if it was only $300, then he could pay me back, but he said no. I did go to the police with it, and I gave them the information they needed, and it was actually surprisingly easy. My family lives in the same city as me, so the police came pretty fast, and now my entire family is furious at me for potentially ruining my nephew's life over such a small thing. I think it's the principle of it that matters, and everyone in the family is better off than me as well. But an outside opinion would be nice as well. So, am I being a jerk doing this? Your nephew is a jerk, and judging by his father's reaction, it's not hard to see where he gets it from. Not in the wrong. Actions have consequences. Your brother should have paid you back. He laughed it off. He's a jerk for teaching his kid that you can steal and get away with it. The kid is a minor. Tell your brother to pay you back, and if/when the case goes to trial, you can let the judge know that restitution was made. Not in the wrong. But I wonder if he actually took it or is actually the one covering for his dad. I find it strange that his dad wouldn't make him give up what he bought with stolen money. Either way, your nephew isn't learning anything good from his dad. My husband was in a car accident last week. He was staying at the hospital for his broken leg, and only me and his mom were there. His mom and I don't get along at all. He tells me I'm overreacting or paranoid whenever I point out how she's mistreating me. He complained about hospital food, saying it had no taste, and asked me to make his favorite meal, which is a steak dish, and bring it to him at the hospital. Noting that steak isn't cheap where we live, and I didn't have enough time to prepare it. I told him that I'll see what I can do. Then his mom said if I'm truly a supportive wife, then I'd make it happen. Once we went outside his room, his mom's tone changed. She suddenly seemed nice and said that she could see how exhausted I was, and so I should go home and not worry about the steak dish because she said she'd make it for him. I asked if she was 100% sure, and she said absolutely. The next visit I showed up and my husband asked why I didn't bring the steak dish he asked for. I saw his mom there. I told him his mom offered to make it for him instead and told me not to worry about it. He didn't believe it and was like, "Mom said that? I'm not buying it." "Mom, you really said that?" And her reaction shocked me. She acted confused and said that I'm his wife, and that she didn't know why I would expect her to perform my duties for me. I was confused and did not know what to do. My husband seemed upset the entire visit, and I waited till his mom left to talk. I swore to him that his mom said that she would take care of it, but he said he didn't believe me. I pulled my phone out, called his mom and put her on speaker so she could hear the conversation. I said, "Didn't you say you'd make the steak dish and that I didn't have to worry about it?" And she replied, "I did, but obviously wasn't actually going to do it. I was just trying to help my son see how his wife is during the rough times. And you took the bait." My husband raised his eyebrows. He got pissed. He called her later and picked a fight, then said no more visiting. And she lost it. Called me petty and manipulative, and blasted me on Facebook saying I stopped her from seeing her son only because I couldn't get her to do things for me like cooking for my own husband. And now his family is criticizing me for this. What do you guys think? Not in the wrong. He called you manipulative? To be honest, he doesn't sound ideal. I'm sure he can cope with hospital food for a few days. Also, bring a steak dish? It will be cold and a mess to eat. Just bring him pizza or something. Saying that she set you a surrendered wife test and got angry when her precious son caught her red-handed? If you don't have children already, I suggest you move as far as you can. She will make your life hell. You're clearly, in her eyes, a deficient wife. And next, you'll be a deficient mother. You are not in a wrong. But even though the mother-in-law is horrible, I hope you recognize that your husband is a major jerk too. Edit. Yes, it is good he changed his tone. As someone who is through and out of this type of marriage, a changed tone doesn't always mean he'll change his stance and start believing you over the mother-in-law. My stance is absolutely biased for that reason. But just having to live through feeling alone in your marriage because your spouse doesn't trust you makes a guy a jerk up to this point regardless of how he proceeds. Also, it is not about the steak dinner. Sometimes you do just be craving stuff in a hospital, and as long as the staff okays you and you're not on any special restriction, then it's cool. Not in a wrong. This is classic narcissistic behavior from his mother. Why is your husband angry at you for not bringing a steak? He is in a hospital. Hospital food is planned by design. I've had some great hospital food the few times I've had it. It is about expectations. Is he even allowed to have outside food? Exposing your mother-in-law is epic and woes needed. If anyone criticizes you, explain what happened and be done with it. I would also have a long talk with your husband about his behavior. I live in a downstairs apartment. My upstairs neighbors are a single dad with two young kids and his adult brother. The kids often run through the apartment late in the evening, but I bought earplugs and dealt with it because I know kids will be kids. What caused me to file a noise complaint is that they play kids' music almost every evening, like really loud to the point that I can clearly hear every word of the songs in my apartment. I've asked them a couple times to lower the volume, and they grudgingly did. Music was pounding again last night. I went up to ask him to turn it down, not off, just down. And the brother got in my face and said he was freaking sick of my complaints, and as long as it was before 10 p.m., they could play music as loud as they wanted. I could see I wasn't going to get anywhere, so I informed them that I would be contacting the office and left. I put in the complaint with the office, and my son overheard me on the phone. I was mortified and told me I was being a Karen and shouldn't have complained. Am I in a wrong? Not in a wrong. Quote, loud to the point that I can clearly hear every word of the songs in my apartment. There is no time of day that volume level is acceptable. Not in a wrong. You did the brave grown-up thing and asked him twice even. The brother got in your face, and you did the right thing by complaining. Your son probably doesn't like confrontation, it sounds like. Not in a wrong. People can legitimately complain about something without being a Karen. And just because you can make some noise before 10 p.m. doesn't mean you can be a jerk to your neighbors with it. You handle things absolutely appropriately.